All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to break down the one core pattern that's behind basically every single web app you use. From a simple to-do list to the biggest social networks. It's all the same fundamental idea. Okay, let's dive in. So, here's a question for you. What could a simple little to-do list app possibly have in common with your massive social media feed? I mean, one is for tracking chores, the other is, well, you know. But deep down, underneath all the different features and designs, they are built on the exact same foundation.
And that's the big secret right there. It all comes down to just count them, four simple actions for handling data. It doesn't matter how fancy the app looks. When you get right down to it, it's all about these four things. Get this, and you really start to get web development.
And these four actions have a name you're going to hear for the rest of your career. It's called CRUD. And no, it's not a bad thing. It's the blueprint, the absolute foundation for how we make data stick around and how we interact with it on the web. Yep, that's it. Create, read, update, and delete. It sounds simple, and it really is. These four words cover the entire life of any piece of data you can think of. You bring it into the world, you look at it, you change it, and eventually, you get rid of it. Okay, so let's make this real. Imagine we have a little to-do app. We'll call it Taskmaster. You type in, do the dishes, and hit save. Boom, that's create. You open the app and see your list. That's read. Then you realize you also have to do laundry, so you edit the task. That's the update. And when you're finally done, you check it off the list. See ya. That's delete. See? Every single thing you do fits right into that pattern. So we've got this idea, CRUD. But how does your computer actually tell a server, hey, I want to create a new task? It's not magic. It's a language, a specific protocol for the web called HTTP. Let's see how our CRUD concept gets translated. And this is where it gets really cool. Each one of our CRUD operations maps one-to-one with something called an HTTP method. Think of them like verbs. To create, we use post. To read, we use get. To update, it's usually put or patch. And to delete, you guessed it, we use delete. This is literally how your browser tells the server what it's trying to do.
But okay, sending a request is one thing. What happens when you close your laptop? We don't want our to-do list to just disappear. For that, we need a permanent home for the data. And that home is the database. And guess what? The database has its own language too, called SQL.
And here is the final piece of the puzzle. It's like poetry. Our CRUD operations also map perfectly to SQL commands. Create becomes insert, read is select, update is update, and delete is delete. So now you see the whole chain, right? It goes from your brain, CRUD, through the internet, HTTP, and into the permanent record, SQL. Okay, enough theory. Theory is great, but let's see this stuff in the wild. We're going to jump into our Taskmaster app, which is built with the Python framework Flask, and see exactly how all these pieces click together in real code.
First up, create. So you type in your task, hit add task. What happens? Your browser fires off an HTTP post request. The Flask server catches it, unwraps the data, and then uses a handy command like db.session.add. Now that little Python command is the magic translator. It turns itself into a full-blown SQL insert statement, and bam, your task is safely stored in the database.
Next up, read. This one's easy. You just go to the home page, your browser sends a GET request, the Flask app sees this and runs a query, something like todo.query.all. That becomes an SQL select command that grabs everything from your task table. Flask then passes that list over to the HTML to show it to you. Simple as that. Update is a little different. It's kind of a two-part dance. First, you click the Update button next to a task. That sends a GET request to fetch just that one task and show it to you in a form. Then you make your changes, hit the Update button again, and this time it sends a POST request with the new data. The server finds the original task by its ID, swaps out the old content for the new, and this triggers an SQL update command. Done. Now hold on. I can hear you thinking, wait a minute, you said put or patch for updates, and you are 100% right. That's a great catch. Here's the deal. Simple HTML forms, the kind you build in basic web dev, can only send GET and POST requests. That's it. So in the real world, for these kinds of apps, it's super common to just piggyback on the POST method to handle our update logic. It's a practical workaround. And finally, delete. You click that little trash can or delete link. This sends a request to a special URL, like /delete/1, where 1 is the ID of the task. Flask uses that ID to find the exact record. It runs a command like db.session.delete, and that generates the final SQL delete command. The record is gone for good.
Okay, pro tip time, and this is a big one. Using a GET request for delete works in our simple app, but it's actually a pretty bad idea in the real world. Why? Because anything can follow a link, even Google's web crawlers. You don't want a search engine accidentally deleting all your data. The proper, secure way is to use the actual delete HTTP method, which can't be triggered by just clicking a link.
So we've covered the logic, the flow, but where do you put all this code? Having a clean, organized project is just as important as writing good code. Let's peek at how a Flask project is typically laid out.
You've basically got two main flavors. When you're just starting out or building something small, throwing everything into one big app.py file is totally fine, simple. But once your app starts getting bigger, you'll want to switch to a more scalable structure, using something called blueprints. This just lets you organize your code into neat little feature groups, which makes life so much easier to manage. But no matter which structure you choose, some things are always the same. The Python code that handles the requests, your routes, goes in a .py file. The HTML that the user sees, that lives in the templates folder. All your style stuff, your CSS and JavaScript, goes into static. And the plan for your database, the schema, usually sits in a data folder. It's a convention everyone follows. And this really brings it all home. This isn't just about one project or one framework. Learning this CRUD pattern is like learning the scales in music. It's a fundamental you will build on for your entire career. It's a way of thinking that you'll use over and over and over again. So I'll leave you with a little challenge. Now that you see this pattern, where else are you going to find it? Think about it. When you post on Instagram, edit a Google Doc, book a hotel room, or add a new contact to your phone, you're doing CRUD. Once you see it, you'll start seeing it absolutely everywhere.